Get a sponsorship ad gently teased into the earphones of 100,000 plus highly engaged listeners, both within this show and promoting our partnership across Acast's other hit podcast. The Noise Next Door will even get creative and make your ad for you. Contact us through this app or via producerpool.co.uk, and we'll tell you more.
Today on Fantasy 5, it's Croatia versus Belgium. For our Euro specials, The Noise Next Door will create European-themed five-a-side fantasy football teams against a stand-up comedy guest who will be representing their actual country. Both sides will be using characters from fiction, history and real life as long as they hail from the appropriate nation. We'll also see what happens when these teams battle it out on the pitch. National pride is on the line. I am Sam. And this is Robin the Pundit.
Hello, mate. It's Robin the Pundit. Here I am. We're going to be providing some really good criticism and insight into the managers' lineups. You know, really picking apart the teams they've chosen. And later on, we're going to be in charge of the commentary for today's match.
Today, our managers are Alex Petrovich and Thomas Livingston from The Noise Next Door. First up, it's Alex. How you doing?
Hello.
Man?
I'm good. How are you?
Very well. Welcome to the podcast. You've got Croatia today. We do like to ask our guests this. How Croatian are you? It's a very important question.
Well, the surname is Petrovic, so that's a good start.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's on my dad's side. It's my grandmother was Croatian, so most of my dad's side of the family are Croatian, hailing from the island of Brač, opposite Split. So a good chunk of the family is Croatian.
That is so much less tenuous than we normally have. That's so you could legit represent Croatia.
Yes, yeah, but not Croatian enough to get a Croatian passport.
So that's pretty good. Tom, how Belgian are you?
Well, Sam, let me tell you, I have been to Belgium several times with work. So I'm as Belgian as you are, and I think maybe 3 trips more Belgian than Robin is. So, I'm not very Belgian, but today I shall be the pride of Belgium.
It's exciting times.
We had a lovely day out in Belgium, didn't we? We went to Ghent. Do you remember that? We had like a little date day, all 4 of us, all of the Noise Next Door. We took some pictures by a river. You can find that on our social media if you want to see just how happy we look in Ghent.
That's what I'm doing next.
A quick spoiler warning, as ever. While we will focus mainly on the footballing prowess of these phenomenal sporting nations, there may be historical spoilers ahead. You've been warned if you don't know the in-depth Croatian history, which is
we're going to spoil Belgium. We're going to spoil Belgium for you. That's what we're going to do. We're going to spoil it. If you like Belgium, prepare to hate it because we're going to spoil Belgium.
Also, please head to iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts and follow and review Fantasy 5 with 5 stars. Now, without further ado, let's hear those Fantasy 5s. So, Alex, Team Croatia, talk us through it.
So obviously representing Croatia today, but I think as a manager, I think it's important to give your players belief. So I've started with a little nickname for my team. So my team's nickname is Team Victory. But obviously, as we're Eastern European, the Vic is pronounced Vich. So it's Team Victory.
Yeah.
Nice.
Little nice touch there. And I was led to believe that I'm at home today. So we've got a very formidable home pitch, a.k.a. King's Landing, a.k.a. Dubrovnik.
Yeah.
Specific bit of King's Landing. Do you remember that? There's that bit where Prince Oberyn and the Mountain have their fight and they've got the hostile crowd. It's specifically there.
Okay. Is like, you know how obviously like approaching Wembley, there's often like a boulevard. Are you having sort of crucified humans either side of that boulevard all the way?
It's the walk of shame.
Yeah, okay. Oh, great.
The steps.
It's the steps, the walk of shame.
So King's Landing in Game of Thrones is literally filmed in Dubrovnik in Croatia?
Yeah.
Correct.
Oh, that's way cooler than Belgium.
We're going to spoil Belgium. That's what we're here for. We're here for Croatia and not Belgium.
Oh, I like the steps though. That's like you know, when you pick up the FA Cup at Wembley and you have to go up the steps, but you have to do all that before the game even begins. Love it.
And you're all naked. It's unfortunate, but that is true. Unfortunately. Shame.
See, what I want is the hostile crowd atmosphere and the ominous threat of a skull crushing #spoiler. So I'll kick off with my team. So I'm going to be playing obviously a goalkeeper and then a diamond formation today, a centre back, two midfielders and an attacker. And I'm going to start off with my most controversial pick, and that is because they have already featured in your podcast. But he has since declared for a new nation and changed position to his correct position. So straight up, in goal, Marco Polo.
Okay.
So famously lived most of his life in Venice, and so people are led to believe that he was born in Venice. However, Croatians and myself believe that he was actually born on the island of Korčula, to the extent where you can go visit his house there.
We can all do that, Alex. We can all say that Marco Polo lives next door. Oh, I believe he's from Swansea. So now he's Welsh, is he? I don't know about this. This feels tetchy.
I believe the Earth is flat. I believe that aliens live underneath the surface and will one day rise to take us home. Unbelievable.
Everybody from Croatia believes it, so it must be true. Unbelievable start. An unbelievable start. You're right. It is controversial.
But I start to mean, as I mean to go on, I mean, apparently his real name was Marco Polovic, and Marco Polo was just his stage name. So,
This is outrageous.
I've never heard this before. I mean, I like it as a kind of... No, I like it as like a fantasy tale. Like, where are these rumours? Is this just a known Croatian thing?
Yeah, it's genuinely like a known Croatian thing. It's like, it's not even in question in Croatia. And it was only when I was researching this, I was like, where is it said on the internet that this is true? But you can find it if you add in Croatia and Korčula. But Wikipedia is wrong, but obviously Wikipedia is wrong about lots of things. And let's be honest, like, he's born in Croatia, he's technically more Croatian than I am, so there's your controversy.
I just really love this blind. No, he's Croatian. You can't fight it. Fair enough. Like, you can't argue it. Who are we? How do we know? He could be from anywhere. No, it's Croatian. All right, okay. That could be true of everybody then. So your team can just be anybody from anywhere in the world, and you could just go, nah, Croatian. All right, okay.
I mean, I've just done a quick Google. I was just interested, like, where was Marco Polo born? I clicked on Britannica, that's a reliable source, and it says born 1254 Venice, ?
Oh.
It has that on Britannica.com.
Okay. That's
so
fair
at
enough.
least there is, there is a question here.
And there is precedent.
Although I would obviously love him to be disallowed.
Yeah, there is precedent on the podcast as well of just choosing whichever webpage you like. So I think we've got to allow that Alex has found this on a blog from someone from Hvar. So
Yeah, my source is Croatia.com.
Even if he was technically born, you can see Croatia from Venice pretty much. Like, so does that kind of count?
And I think it was technically probably one of those things at the time of it could have been under Italian rule, like Roman Empire.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those technicalities.
So if we're allowing him in the side on a technicality, why is he in there? What's the reasoning for popping him in?
And this is why the position change to his correct position is important. So he is an explorer. An important part of the goalkeeper's job is to be able to visualize and see the whole of the pitch, the bigger picture, to pick out those passes, see the route that you want to go to. Big part of that. And a slightly more tenuous one is his surname is Polo, and water polo is famously played with your hands.
That's true. I would say if we're arguing about his surname, though, his surname is Polo, and polos famously have a massive hole in the middle. So in terms of saving, I don't know, man.
Well, I guess his name's actually Polovic, apparently.
And Polovic is a famously mince with no hole.
I like it. I like the exploration angle. It's a good reason for him being moved to the goal. I think that's a fair shout.
So yeah, he is good with his hands and stuff. But I'm aware that I'm allowed an accessory per player. Yeah. I'm going to be utilizing this to its fullest effect. Now, the 6-yard box is going to be a little swimming pool for the polo effect, because water polo is played in water, as is the popular game Marco Polo.
Yeah.
And what you're thinking is, what happens when you switch ends? Even better, because the opposition keeper, who knows if he can swim? Who knows if the Belgian keeper can swim? He's just going to be flailing about in there. Tom looks confident.
So have you got pulls just at both ends?
No, just one end.
Oh, just one.
One end.
So if you win the toss, are you deciding which end you're going to, and are you always choosing? So you're always choosing the pool in the first half.
Yes, correct. Yes.
Okay. All right.
So that is my goalkeeper. Have we got through the controversy?
I'll allow it because
this is
frankly,
unbelievable.
We could be here all day, but I would say, Tom, that this basically gives you carte blanche to choose whoever you fucking like, because Alex started by just choosing somebody Italian. So go for it, mate. If you want David Beckham, Tom, you can have him. Famous Belgian David Beckham.
Yeah, as long as you just put a Belgian suffix at the end. So just David Beckham. It's fine. With Markovic, Polovic. Unbelievable.
All right, so that's your goalkeeper. Who else you got?
Okay, so you thought that one was controversial. Okay, so there's a few cliches in football for defenders. They say you want to be solid at the back and a rock in defence. And what's stronger than rock? Marble. So specifically, the marble from the island of Bratch. So in front of this little swimming pool, we have built a marble wall the height of the goal. And you're thinking, why is this marble so famous? It's been used on palaces and parliaments all throughout Europe, but its most famous use is it is the marble that the White House is built out of.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So it's very, very famous. And obviously, it's not a big island either. It's literally just a chunk of the island carved out. We're like, oh, we've shipped that to America. And you're thinking, like the swimming pool issue, what happens when you switch ends? Correct to be thinking of that. However, the wall is on tracks, so we just slide it to the other end.
Yeah, okay, like a train,
literally on a train track. So it slides up to the other end and then locks in when you're. I did consider wheels, but there's the odd striker that like to roll a defender, and if it's on wheels, they're just going to roll it straight off the pitch. Yeah. Can't be having that.
So it's a giant marble. It's not just some of the marble from Bratch. It's not like just the White House. It's just you have constructed from the marble a giant wall.
Yeah. Get past that.
Okay. Well, yeah. What are the dimensions of the wall?
Oh, big. It's. I was going to say the height of the goal, but people can get it over so it's a little bit higher than a goal, but not so high that the Marco Polo's because he's going to be down in the swimming pool behind. It's like
not high enough to take the piss. Your wall is going to be like a 9-foot wall. That's not taking the piss. We'll allow it. But if it was 10 feet, that would be ridiculous.
Absolutely, and I have respect for my opposition.
Do you worry about away games?
Yeah, it's not the most transportable thing. We are very much one of those teams that play for the home game, and
maybe it's just like Dennis Bergkamp just doesn't really like travelling to the away games.
Feigns injury. It's like that thing. There was a footballer called Ross McCormack who said he couldn't get to training one day because his gate was stuck, and then the manager went round to his house and literally hopped over the fence. It was such a low fence. That's my defender. I was told I was allowed inanimate objects.
How much marble does it it feels like it's not like a field that reproduces crop. How much marble is in how much have we got left? Is there enough to produce this giant wall?
Yes, I say with the confidence of the Croatian Tourism Board. Lots of marble to go around. No marble straws. No marbles. I'll get rid of half the island if I have to. I'm getting my wall. Build that wall.
It's a very important reason for it. We don't need any more American governmental buildings. We need we need a wall for a game of football against Belgium. I love it. All right, so that's your defender, and then you've got two midfielders.
Yes, and I think with midfielders, it is important to have that dynamic in midfield. You want that tough, tackling, energetic midfielder, but then you've also got that classy, skillful midfielder. So we're going to go for the tough, tackling, hard-working midfielder first. So you often hear in football, you need a midfield engine. This midfield needs an engine, and this midfield has an engine. It's just that this engine is running off electric because it's Nikola Tesla.
Great shout.
So again, with a lot of these, he did live a lot of his life in Serbia, but he was born in Smiljan, Croatia, and much like me, he is Serbian and Croatian. I think with this particular role in midfield, you want someone that does a lot of. You've always got those midfielders. They don't take the glory. They do a lot of the hard work and the leg work and do all the things that don't necessarily get credit for it. And that is very much like Nikola Tesla's relationship with Thomas Edison. So obviously a lot of Thomas Edison's ideas, they say, came from Nikola Tesla's work, and Nikola Tesla was employed by Thomas Edison. And Nikola Tesla at the time was just happy to coming up with these great ideas, and Thomas Edison just took all the credit. So you want this midfielder that just kind of is doing all the legwork and is just getting none of the credit, but is very important to what you're doing. And also, he knows when to kick off when needed. He did eventually quit Thomas Edison's company and went off to form his own company. And ultimately, in the battle, who won? AC current or DC current? I think you'll find we're using AC current.
I mean, I for one, am just glad you've picked someone who's actually Croatian. So far, we've had some stone and an Italian. So this is exciting for me. I actually feel like I'm playing now. All right, let's go.
Yeah, I guess he's quite Croatian if you consider that he's a Serbian born in the Austrian Empire. So, but it fits perfectly into the side.
There was an air of doubt in your comment, but I'm going to let it slide.
All I can think of about Nikola Tesla is, I don't know if any of you guys have played, this is real nerdy stuff, so if anybody listening is thinking of making a cup of tea, now's the time. I don't know if, like, when you were growing up, you ever played any of the Red Alert games. You ever played Red Alert 2? It's an amazing game, and there was one of the defensive turrets you could build in Red Alert 2 was a Tesla coil, and these were just like effectively pylons that shot electric at your at the baddies. So I can only assume that that's going to be part of his tactic, is building a Tesla coil to literally electrify well, imagine electrifying the swimming pool. Imagine if your Belgian striker gets into the pool, zap, done. Of course, that would be the end of Marco Polo, but you know.
In retrospect, that is a much better accessory than the one I have picked for him.
No, you pick the one you've picked. What is it? Come on, you picked
it. So basically, he never married in his whole life, and later in life, he claimed to have fallen in love with a pigeon. And he's quoted as, did you know this?
No.
He fell in love with a pigeon. He's quoted as saying, I love that pigeon as a man loves a woman, and she loved me. So he does have the capacity to lose his head later in the game, but we're going to sub him off when it gets to that point, when it gets to the pigeon-loving territory. But my accessory is the pigeon, and it's going to be fluttering about, getting in people, all up in people's grill. It's going to be doing things that pigeon do. You know, you don't even. It's going to do a bit of eye pecking. That pigeon's going to be there.
Are we worried if he really loved this pigeon that he's going to be trying to bang a pigeon during the game?
A valid point. Very valid point. I didn't think of it for the sexy distraction that it is. But I think Nicky T is a professional, and when the mind is on the job, he's going to focus on the game and save the pigeon loving for later.
Mm-hmm. Also, he's going to be showing off. Yeah. I think he's going to be showing off. Like, you know, whenever there's a sexy lady at a show, you always try harder. You make sure that you show off, and I think that's what's going to be happening here. I think that's a fair motivator.
Exactly. And the thing is, he works hard, but he's also a creator. Like, he had over 300 patents in his own right. Ooh. So including that was like electric light, electric motors, radio, X-ray, remote control, radar, wireless communications, robotics, and of course, the Tesla coil. Like, a lot of his ideas are implemented in, although the technology wasn't there at the time, a lot of his ideas are what was eventually converted into things like smartphones and stuff like that.
It's amazing, isn't it? Yeah, that's a really great shout. I'd say that's your best pick so far.
What, instead of the Italian and the wall?
Instead of the Italian and the wall, yeah.
It's a good shout, yeah. Just the doing all the leg work, not getting necessarily all of the glory for it. Oh, it's a great pick. So who's next to him then? Who does get all the glory?
Okay, so it's my captain, and I think you're all sitting there and you're thinking, there's a Croatian that we're all thinking of, and he hasn't picked him yet. He's got to pick him, and you're right, I have picked him. It is the Croatian poet Ivan Gundulic. So you need that silk. Obviously, poets very classy, very, and you need that kind of silky, classy midfielder. You know, the creative spark. But there is a very interesting thing about Ivan Gundulic, and that is he is the person credited with inventing the cravat.
Okay. Oh, you're going to have fancy boys. Your team is going to be full of fancy boys wearing lovely cravats.
Yeah, exactly. We've got some cravats. The very first painting that exists of a person wearing a cravat is of Ivan Gundulic, and as a result, he's been credited with inventing the cravat. And in turn, the cravat led to the tie. So, Yep, that's how I worked back. I was once told on a trip to Croatia that Croatians invented the tie, and that is the closest I've got to linking those two rumours together.
So you're saying that you're quite happy to go for a tie in this game? All right.
Oh, he's got me.
So this guy, I remember he was from Dubrovnik, right? I remember hearing about him in Dubrovnik. I remember the cravat thing. If I remember rightly, he is an absolute sex fiend. Like, he looks delicious.
Sorry, what?
He's just a delicious. Like, his portraits are just like, who is this absolute stunning, long-haired delight of a man? That's mainly what I remember from going to Dubrovnik. Not the beautiful sights, not the Game of Thrones stuff, not the old town walls. No, this absolute sex fiend.
He is a good-looking man, a very good. And I think even his statue in Dubrovnik, because I've not actually been to Dubrovnik, but if I'm not mistaken, it's actually wearing a cravat as well.
In his portrait, yeah.
And on the actual statue, it's wearing a red cravat.
Oh, cool. That's really cool.
I'll read you one of his just a quick sentence from one of his poems. So it says, "No silver nor gold, not life itself could replace the reward of thy pure and sublime grace." And some say that line was written about a really good assist he once did. So obviously I've got an accessory as well for Mr. Gundulic, and I think it's pretty obvious what the accessory is. He's going to be wearing a cravat. Now, hear me out. Towel whips are very painful.
Yeah.
Do you know what's worse than a towel whip? A little cravat whip. And what makes a towel whip more painful? When it's dipped in water. And where are we going to find some water? Oh, that's right, our 6-yard box. So he's going to dip his cravat in the 6-yard box of water, and he's then going to be whipping people. And it's not dangerous play. He's not going to get sent off for it. At best, it's just very annoying.
I mean, I'd let him whip me any day. He's just...
I'm looking at a picture of him now, Sam. He looks like a little creep.
Yeah, like a sexy creep.
No, like just a regular creep.
No, he's got the incredibly long hair and like thick eyebrows and those piercing eyes. Maybe
I think we're looking at the same picture, and I'm seeing a creep.
It's interesting different types that you guys have. That's very interesting.
So my striker.
That's what I'm here for.
Oh, this is a good one. Now I'm going for the target man. This guy comes in at 6'7", and his name is Krist Novoselic, and he is the bass player from Nirvana.
Okay.
So Krist Novoselic, Croatian. It's a big guy, target man, so obviously we're going to be playing the long balls up to him. He's going to hold it up. There's a good example of why I've chosen him as my striker as well. So there was once a gig where Nirvana famous, they smashed up their instruments and stuff like that. He threw his bass guitar up into the air, then went to catch it, and it hit him on the head and knocked him out. Now, you're thinking, why have I chosen this example that highlights him as very clumsy? I like to think of it is he puts his body on line for the cause. So I'm picturing like last minute low cross in. He shouldn't really go for the diving head. He's just going to skid along the floor. But it's Krist Novoselic and he's 6'7". Of course he's getting on the end of that. Nuts it in at the back post.
So it hit him on the head. Did he throw it up in the first place?
Yeah, he threw it up and knocked himself out with his own bass guitar.
Knocked himself out.
To catch it.
Yeah, I remember seeing this clip.
He did then get up and walk off stage after he came to. So he's a hard man. Hard man.
Are we worried about clumsiness at the top of the pitch here?
It's a concern, but I think his tenacity and his desire to win will get us through. There's also lots of because people didn't know that he was a lover of being a striker and he loved scoring goals, and there were clues in his Nirvana songs, and I'll take you through a few. Smells Like Teen Spirit. Little known fact that Teen Spirit just means goals. Come As You Are, and What You Are is a great striker. And my personal favourite, this is a very, very well-known one, Heart-Shaped Box. Of course it's heart-shaped. He loves getting in the box.
That's stupid.
I just didn't realise that all of these songs were just so intrinsically linked to football. It's huge.
Big football fans, big football fans. And obviously you're thinking, Nirvana, they were known for their drug partaking. But this is Chris Novoselic, age 30, a few years after Nirvana. So anything that was in his system, long gone. Any concerns with that?
I'm worried about the long-term concussion effects from, it's quite prevalent in sport at the moment, particularly American football and football, normal football, good football as well. That knock, was he treated properly? Are there any long-term effects?
I think Nirvana did carry around like a full medical team with them, so I think he was there was concussion protocols. They like took him off for a little bit. They brought on like a little bass sub, and then he was checked out properly.
I mean, if Nirvana carried around a medical team with him, he's got to be quite strong as well, because that's like multiple people and equipment.
He's 6'7". He was doing all the lifting himself.
He's a big boy.
I've got some subs as well.
Oh yeah.
Now, sub number 1, again, someone that has already featured in your podcast.
The controversy continues.
So now hear me out.
It's a French dog. Oh, great, yeah. Somebody intrinsically not linked to Croatia.
It is a dog. It is a dog. It's genuinely a dog. But dog's their club team, and this is their international call-up.
We'll allow that.
So it's Purdy, the Dalmatian dog, and Dalmatians are from the Dalmatian coast, aka in Croatia.
Yeah. So, I'm glad you've chosen Purdy. If you'd have chosen Pongo, I'd have called you a total twat. Choosing Purdy is the right decision. Pongo's a goofball.
Exactly. So Purdy's ready. Obviously, when Chris looks like he's about to pass out from too many base concussions, Purdy gets on there straight away up front. Sub number 2.
Oh, actually, sorry, bad news about Purdy. In the cats versus dog game that she actually featured in, she did die.
She did die.
So I'm afraid she's going to be unavailable for your bench. She was run over on a busy A road. So I'm sorry that news didn't filter down to you as the manager. You can have Pongo, but he's a dickhead. Or any of the puppies. You can have any of the 101 Dalmatians, but Purdy is currently roadkill.
Oh, I'm afraid. Chance with Pongo then. To be fair, I was getting my sources from Croatian Wikipedia, so obviously it's not up to date.
You could take any of their kids, maybe. Like one of them was called Lucky. I mean, that's quite a handy.
Yeah, go on. Let's have Lucky. Let's have Lucky.
Okay,
yeah,
all right.
Lucky. Number 2, just a sporting legend and a winner. We've got a winner on the bench. It is Wimbledon winner Goran Ivanisevic. Mm-hmm. Another big person. And sub number 3, and this is a good one to have on the bench. This is someone we like to call the Abomination. Are you familiar with the Abomination? I know Tom is.
I am straight away. Yeah.
As in from Marvel?
Yeah, Emil Blonsky. Croatian, isn't he?
Emil Blonsky was born in Zagreb and is a KGB spy who eventually turns into the Abomination by exposing himself to a greater radiation than the one that turns Bruce Banner into the Hulk, thus making him a lot stronger than the Hulk. And that is a good thing to have off the bench. He's just going to mess things up when he comes on, just like a little whirlwind.
Only on the bench?
Yeah, I like a super sub, and obviously, Tesla loses his head in games, and Novoselic has got the concussion thing. I keep it tight to begin with, and then when we just need to throw like a mixer in, Abomination just gets involved.
Yeah,
as they always say. Assistant manager Adrian Childs. His mum's Croatian. And we've hired a physio because obviously we've got a lot of injury problems with Chris, and that is Dr. Luka Kovac from ER.
Sure.
Yeah, I remember him. Was he Croatian? I just remember thinking as a kid, he is foreign. Croatian, wild.
Croatian character played by a Croatian actor.
Nice.
I like this. There's a real spread of different worlds that the Croats have infiltrated.
we're everywhere.
There's good film here. There's comics, Disney, history and poetry, all blended in together.
Inanimate objects.
Yeah, exactly.
And Italians. So it's good. Yeah. Alex, so your team sounds amazing. Talk us through one final time your Fantasy 5 first lineup.
So in goal we've got Marco Polo. At the back, we've got Marble from the island of Brach. In midfield, we've got Nikola Tesla and Ivan Gundulic. And up front, we've got Krist Novoselic.
There we go. That's Croatia. Sam, it's time for us to go and spoil Belgium. Are you ready?
Obs.
A podcast from producerpaul.co.uk.
Now it's over to Tommy LaBelge. What's your team?
Oh, Team Belgium. It was fun. I had a lot of time researching Belgium. The Belgians they're a historied people with many, many people that stand out as worthy picks. However, However, I'm going to let you know my Fantasy 5. First up, my first pick, I'm going to start in defence. I'm going to leave my goalkeeper back for a bit. I'm going to start in defence with my captain, Hercule Poirot, the most Belgian of all people, the world-famous private detective. He is going to sniff out enemy attacks and catch those strikers red-handed. Why prior in defence? Well, he's all about method and order. He's the sort of defender that's got an eye on the whole game. He's got the game plan, it's all laid out, and he will execute it with the sort of precision of his impeccably groomed moustache. He's all about keeping things tidy at the back and in the world of crime. Other detective defenders like Sherlock and those idiots, they spend a lot of their time analysing the clues of the physical clues of the strikers, footprints and cigar dust and stuff like that. But Poirot, he doesn't even need to look for the physical stuff. He is a detective of the mind. He's a master of getting into his opponent's heads. He understands how the brain works and what makes it tick. So he's going to be one step ahead of the attackers. No matter how deviously they try and disguise their attacks, he will figure it out and step in at the vital moment.
I have a concern.
Yeah?
Straight off the bat. If he is your captain, presumably he's going to be in charge of, the team talks during, alongside you. He's going to be calling all of his players into a huddle. And I just feel like if he's asking a group of people to assemble anywhere, they're all going to be really nervous because they're just going to assume that he's going to accuse one of them of murder. So I just feel like there's going to be tense meetings.
Yeah, I don't mind a bit of tension. I actually think looking at the rest of this team, they could use a little bit of tension before going on. Okay. There's some free thinkers coming up. So, I'm not worried about him. He's adding a much needed order to this Belgian team.
I'm interested in so Alex said, this person has been in the podcast before a couple of times. I'm interested in the fact that Alex clearly listens more than you do to the podcast, because we've also had Poirot before as well. So is he stepping into the... in the Cops
In
team.
what team?
In the Cops. So he's stepping into his national team too?
Yeah, I did listen to that episode. I just forgot. Because I wasn't on that episode. Anyway. Yes, obviously this is his national team. Obviously this is... What position did he play for Cops? Do you remember?
He didn't even make the pitch, mate. He was the head coach.
Oh, well, you missed a trick. He's a master defender. Stupid.
So he's one of those club players that gets international call-ups even though they're not good enough for the club team.
Yeah, no, he's totally good enough. That was a misstep on whoever, Sam, managed the Cops team.
It wasn't Sam, it was Jim Campbell.
No, Jim Campbell's the Robbers.
Oh, yeah.
Now who doesn't listen to the podcast, Robin?
Well, I'm looking at the notes that we made on that episode, and I even mucked it up, and I can see very clearly there it says Sam Cops. So,
Right. Here's the thing about Poirot. He's got some extra bits that I'll let you know about. He's not afraid to use some wild tactics. I liked this. In The Big Four, he, in casual conversation, he just casually invents that he has an identical twin brother and then later poses as his own identical twin brother. I'm not quite sure how this is useful on the football pitch. I'm just imagining, Hercule Poirot gets subbed off and Achille Poirot comes on, but it's not. It's just still Hercule Poirot.
That's a little bit of Alex Petrovich energy, because he's just inventing that he has a twin brother, Alex is inventing that Marco Polo is Croatian. I like it.
Yeah. And obviously he's an absolute veteran player. He's probably one of the older kind of members on my team, but he's been in 37 novels, 59 short stories, 19 films, and hundreds of TV episodes. He's across mediums and he's getting stuff sorted out. Any questions, any worries?
Apart from the accusation of murder just constantly being on your players' heads. But if you're happy that's gonna rile them up, then that's great. No worries.
Yeah, brilliant. Right, next up, in midfield, I'm rocking the diamond. I'm rocking the defender, 2 mids and a striker. In midfield, I've got a tiny urinating baby. Now,
not the mannequin piss. Just a tiny urinating baby.
It is the mannequin piss. So, for those who don't know, mannequin piss is a little bronze statue of a baby who is just peeing into a little fountain in Brussels. It's kind of like the biggest tourist attraction in Brussels for some reason. It's really popular, but he's going to be excellent in my field. I'll tell you why. He's very strong for a baby. He's like, the statue is weirdly muscular. Like, the baby kind of has abs and like pretty decent arms, and he's of course literally made of bronze. So everyone has seen his firm tackle. Because he's a little naked peeing baby that's made of bronze. He's got a little bronze penis. So basically, he's pretty solid defensively in midfield. But also, he's got excellent balance and staying power because he's been standing on that little arch since 1619, you know? 1 foot up as well. He's got incredible balance.
That kid needed a piss, didn't he? If he's been going since 1619, Christ. The bladder on that child, it must be horrible.
Yeah. He's been peeing non-stop for 402 years. It's pretty impressive. And I'm just thinking, distraction-wise, it's going to be quite a lot. You know, for these, I was going to say Croatians, but for these things and people that Alex has, for some reason, selected for the Croatian team, it's going to be quite distracting having this little child just running around, just non-stop peeing. I think that's going to be difficult to deal with.
So is he running or is he a statue?
He's a statue that runs. Look, if you listen to the podcast, you'll know that biscuits can also play football, Alex, so get on board with the programme. Right.
And is there actual water that comes out?
It is water that comes out.
It's piss, isn't it? It's obviously piss.
Well, it's piss.
That is just ammunition for Ivan Gundulic. She's going to get that cravat straight in there.
Well, I mean, are we worried about mannequin piss pissing in the pool? That could really screw up your goalkeeper and your whole defensive tactic. You've just got a little baby peeing in that pool.
Although it is like, there is something worse about having like a little towel snap, like a cravat snap, but instead of water, it's your own piss. Like that, there's something really insulting about that, isn't there? Like, I'm going to hit you with your own piss. Oh.
That is our team motto. Croatians, we're going to hit you with your own piss.
Tom, I do have a worry for you.
What's the worry?
I'm interested. Is this kind of like the Poirot swapping himself for a twin? Because the mannequin piss, the current statue is a replica of the original. Did you know this?
Yeah, I did know this. Yeah, he was replacing.
So he hasn't been there for hundreds of years. Yeah,
the concept of him has been there actually longer. He was a stone statue before the brass one. But look, the bronze one. The point is, the concept of mannequin piss. He's on the pitch.
So you're having the concept of a
I'm having the concept of a small pissing baby. And the reason. So I wanted to look into why it was sort of like a big deal for Brussels, and apparently the people of Brussels consider him their icon because he's clearly an independent spirit. He's an icon of freedom. And I like that for a midfielder, you know. He's got the loose role in the middle of the park. He goes where he wants, pissing all over the place.
If ever I'm at the pub and I've had like a few and I need a piss against the wall somewhere, you know, on the walk home, and the police stop, I'm going to stop me. I'm going to tell them that I'm an icon of freedom. That's what I'm going to say now. That's my get out of jail free card. I'm having a piss because I'm an icon of freedom.
That or the concept of a statue.
Apparently, the inspiration for the statue is a little boy in the 14th century called Juliansk who was spying on some enemies who were setting explosive against the walls, and he peed on the fuse when they ran away. Apparently, that is one of the 18 possible ways that was the inspiration for
I believe it. I believe it. Tom, who have you got next to him?
Yeah, from bronze to brass in the midfield, it's what's his name? Right. From bronze to brass in the midfield, it's Adolf Sax, the inventor of the saxophone. Yeah, here he is. A fact that everyone is aware of: saxophones make music better. And the original sax man is going to make my team better as well. He's obviously a creative player, going off on thrilling saxophone solo efforts all the way to the goal. Super inventive, clearly. He invented the saxophone. He also invented the saxotromba, the saxotuba, and the sax horn. And frankly, I think we can all agree it's a real shame that it wasn't the sax horn that took off, because blow my sax horn!
Yeah, pretty good. Did you say his first name is Adolf?
Well, Adolphe. It's Adolf with a PHE instead of an F. So,
right, okay. Yeah. No worries.
Pronunciation uncertain, but he's Adolphe, maybe.
Do you reckon he was actually Adolf with the F, and then it was just like, I got to change this shit? Like, this has got to.
It was quite a long time before Hitler.
Was it?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. If anything, I feel like
it was the other way around. Hitler was like, I don't want to be associated with that idiot who created the sax horn.
And to be fair, idiot might be one of the letdowns of Mr. Sachs. I'm calling him resilient to injury. However, you might say, if you thought the Nirvana bassist was clumsy, check this shit out, right? This I'm just ripping this right off the internet here. Sachs faced many brushes with death. As a child, he fell from a height of 3 floors, hit his head on a stone floor, and was believed dead. At the age of 3, he drank a bowl full of acid, mistaking it for milk. Later,
why is there a bowl of acid? Why is that just lying around in reach of a toddler? Why are they doing that?
Clearly never been for dinner at mine. Gazpacho?
Also, as a child, he just swallowed a pin. He received serious burns from a gunpowder explosion. He once fell on a hot cast iron frying pan, burning his side. Several times he avoided accidental poisoning and asphyxiation from sleeping in a room with varnished furniture drying. And
the guy's a fucking
another
idiot.
time he was struck on the head by a cobblestone and fell into a river and nearly drowned.
So he created the sax, and he's the inspiration for Wile E. Coyote.
Yes, yeah. That's not in my notes, but you're absolutely right. His neighbours...
You're right about like the bounce back ability, though. Like, you know, if he's coming back from all these things, you are right. Like, you've got to have a certain grit and determination to keep bouncing back from that. I've never been hit on the head with a cobblestone and nearly drowned, but I think that would finish me off mentally.
And he then went on to invent the saxophone. His neighbours gave him a nickname, and I like a footballer with a nickname. His neighbours called him Little Sax, the Ghost, because surely he must have died by now. I think Little Sax, the Ghost is a cool nickname for a footballer, and I'm very happy with it.
Also, did he only invent those 3 things? Tesla had 300 patents.
Yeah, but not one of them was the saxophone, dullard. Jazz!
I do think I might... If you ask me to pick saxophone or electronics, I think I'd probably pick electronics, like electricity.
Well, then you'd be living a sad life with no saxophone.
Devastated never to hear Baker Street again. What an absolutely outrageous banger that is. But then again, if I've got no electricity, then I'm not listening to Baker Street anyway, because I'm not there all the time listening to Baker Street.
But here's a counter-argument. Maybe if Tesla hadn't invented electrics, the power of sheer saxophone would power the world.
That's my point. We'll never know. We will never know, Tom. That's a good point.
Up front, Robin.
Yeah.
Sam. Alex. It's Audrey Hepburn.
Yep.
Now, look. Here's the thing. Okay. I was nervous about picking Audrey Hepburn because I was like, look, she's definitely British and definitely Dutch. However... she was born in Brussels, and that's an actual certifiable fact. And after Marco Polo just getting waved away onto the Croatian team, I feel great about picking Audrey Hepburn, born in Brussels.
I'm definitely allowing it. That's not my point. But my point here is you have got some fucking audacity being as outraged as you were when Alex said about Marco Polo. You audacious.
No, I was outraged because he said... he may have been born there. Audrey was definitely born in Brussels.
Did you not see the question mark in Britannia?
I did. Right. Audrey Hepburn, obviously elegant, poised, supremely talented. It's her lightness of touch and her ability to turn heads and hearts that make her my lone striker. She's incredibly accomplished. She speaks 5 languages. And is one of only 16 people in all of history to receive the EGOT, the Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony Awards. She's a literal silverware magnet. She brings the trophies wherever she goes. This is a good fact. She can penetrate a defense. For example, when she was at ballet school, she smuggled messages through Nazi checkpoints in her ballet shoes to aid the resistance in the Netherlands.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Defeating the Nazis. That's how good she is. Also, not a selfish striker. She's happy to give back, pass it back to the pissing baby or something. She will give back, like how she spent the last 38 years of her life working for UNICEF. Oh, she's a bloody legend. She's also great on the counter-attack. She really can break fast at Tiffany's. It's a bit of fun. Also, she's got a pet deer called Pippin, which, again, no football fun there. Just wanted to tell you all. She's got a pet deer called Pippin.
Does she? Is there any chance that she might fall in love with the deer?
No, she's not
Tesla?
a bloody perv like Tesla. Gross.
Okay. Do you want the deer? The deer can come.
Yeah, I
Like
love
just
the deer.
like basically what I'm seeing here is a pigeon and a deer having a fight, and I do back the deer in this instance.
Yeah, the deer is on pigeon patrol. That's that's
like
a, new
a
tactic
deer,
for me.
like a female deer, not a stag. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I believe so. Like it literally went to the supermarket with her and stuff. Look for there's a photo of just Audrey Hepburn in a supermarket with a deer.
Insane. I love it when celebs do things like that. Like it's like Salvador Dali had an armadillo, didn't he? That you just used to walk around. I'd love the idea that you could be mad enough, but like because you're so famous, no one's going to tell you can't do those things.
Exactly.
I don't know if it's anything to do with fame. It's just balls, isn't it? If I just started walking around with a llama, people would be delighted.
Yeah.
I mean, I would be delighted most of all. I love llamas.
You couldn't do that, Sam. I've been to a llama farm with you, and you can't speak sentences because you're laughing so hard. There's absolutely no way that you could have. You can have one. All right, listen, Tom. That's a great shout up front. Who have you got in goal?
In goal. I've got the inventor of the world. As we think of how it looks today, it's Gerardus Mercator. Mercator is responsible for what is called the Mercator projection, which is basically the world map that you would think of. He's the one that has designed the map that we think of today. Why in goal? Well, he was a cartographer and a professional globe maker. So he is used to handling big balls. He was also a master calligrapher. So we know he had dexterous, accurate hands, and an expert engraver. So when we win the cup, we won't even need to send it off to get it engraved. He can just do it on the pitch. Right?
Also, it's nice. It's a nice touch that your goalie is actually Belgian.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
That's a really nice touch that you've gone there. It's different to the previous team, but I like it.
And you know, Mercator, when I heard Marco Polo, I was obviously a bit outraged, but also, you know, Marco Polo did a bit of wandering. Mercator mapped the entire world.
But he famously didn't go anywhere, though, did he? He did it all.
Didn't have to.
I
He
love
understood
maps.
it intrinsically.
He didn't like travelling, so he just did it all from his own other maps.
He just sat at home making it bloody perfect, right? He was also, outside of the globe stuff, he was renowned for making scientific instruments. And he made a lot of money off selling globes and these scientific instruments. He made like astrolabes and astronomical rings, which are all used in sort of astrology and geometry and navigation. Basically, his whole life was dedicated to figuring out how balls moved through space. It was all about the shape of balls and how things are applied to them. He was a master of physics of spheres. That's just the perfect goalkeeper.
Well, hang on. Was it not that he was more concerned with what was on the top of that ball? So he
Yes,
just
but
loved,
also-
he would love the leather of a football, for example.
Yeah, but also he looked at astronomy as well and how he was a real polymath. He was also published as like in geography and philosophy and theology. He was a devout Catholic, so if all else fails, he can literally ask God for help.
Although I am afraid I will have to intervene. As we all know, God is actually Croatian. So
Yeah, we do know
it's
that.
just rumours. It's rumoured from the Croatians.
Yeah, there's this island in Croatia, and they're pretty convinced God's from there.
It's my next door neighbour's house. I do have a question, though, actually.
Yeah.
Can he swim?
Look, I'll be honest with you. When you said that, the first thing I Googled was, can he swim? And Google didn't have an answer for me.
Because on Croatia.com it says he can't swim.
Does it? Look, I feel confident that his mastery of spheres, even if he has to stand just behind the goal line, you know, he'll be able to sort of punch outwards. I feel confident in him. He's a ball master. However, like the saving grace of this Belgian team is that I have the most versatile bench player. I only need the one. I've got one bench player that can deal with any of these problems that the Croatians bringing. On the bench, I have Peo and his sketchbook. Now, Peo is the Belgian cartoonist who invented the Smurfs. So no matter what happens, he can just draw out one of the 150 named Smurf characters to fill the role I need filling on the pitch. Obviously, you've got the big stars. You've got your Papa Smurf and your Smurfette. But there's a Smurf for every occasion. Sweepy Smurf for defense. Hunter Smurf up front. Lucky Smurf. You've got a lucky dog. I've got a lucky Smurf, right? Honestly, I think one of the easier ones to bring on there is just Winner Smurf. He never loses. That's one of his. And also, I'm so glad the pool thing, because there's Submariner Smurf. He exists. So he's not going to work at the pool. There's Pastry Cook Smurf if everyone gets hungry. The taxes, Finance Smurf. Real Smurf. I'm not making these up. They're all real Smurfs. Finance Smurf is a Smurf that exists. Good. So Payo's there with his sketchbook. What do we need? And also Smurfs will fit under that wall, because you said there are wheels on it, so that's going to give us a bit of clearance. The Smurfs will just nub right under there.
How big are Smurfs?
Smurfs are as small as your heart wants them to be.
They live in a mushroom, don't they, Smurfs? Like their house is a mushroom.
Oh, teeny
so
tiny.
You know a mushroom, you know a standard mushroom size, smaller than that.
Oh yeah.
They can comfortably. Their houses have got like 3 bedrooms in a mushroom.
That marble wall is going to be a real problem then, isn't it?
They got wheels on it. There's clearance under that, clearly.
I'll just bring on the Abomination.
Yeah, if they're on a train track, like, you know, a Smurf could quite easily walk under a train.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm going to allow that.
Yeah. So basically, I've got Payo drawing out Smurfs. There's 150 names ones. And I reckon if we're really desperate, we're like, oh, God, he set fire to it. Just write out Firefighter Smurf. There might be a Firefighter Smurf. I think it's probably quite likely there is.
There's probably a footballer Smurf, to be honest.
I did look for that. I couldn't find one called footballer.
Well, that's good, because you wouldn't be allowed him. It's the only rule of the podcast is you cannot have a footballer. So I'm glad you didn't say him, because he wouldn't be on the team. All right then, Tom, a great super sub. Talk us through, though, your Fantasy 5.
Oh, my Fantasy 5. In goal, it's Gerardus Mercator. In defence, Hercule Poirot. In the midfield, it's Mannequin Piss and Adolphe Sax. And up front, it's definitely Belgian Audrey Hepburn.
Well, we have the teams. Let's see how the managers feel about their chances. Now they've heard what the opposition lineups are. How are we feeling after hearing about these Belgians, Alex?
I'm still confident. These Belgians, they've never been to King's Landing. They're going to be intimidated by the hostile crowd. They can't do the walk of shame. I'm very, very confident.
Wow. Just so much confidence. The confidence is just oozing. You guys can't see it, Alex, but he just looks imperiously confident. Just laughing in the face of these Belgians. How does that make you feel, Tom?
Honestly, I was feeling good until I saw Alex's face just then. I don't know what he's got. What he's got up his sleeve. Something, clearly. I'm happy with my team, and I just feel that whatever's thrown at me, Smurfs will be the answer. Super sub, Smurf it.
All the Smurfs on the bench. I'm looking forward to this one. I think it's going to be a good battle. There is only one thing left to do, and it is time for kickoff.
Welcome to King's Landing. It's a beautiful day in the fictional city in a fictional land that is also definitely in Croatia because the Croatians say so.
The Croatian team bus has arrived, surrounded by adoring fans, and the team disembarks ready for this fixture.
Yep, look, there's Nikola Tesla and Marco Polo sharing a pre-game joke.
Lucky the Dalmatian receives a warm welcome from this home crowd after the tragic mid-season loss of his mother. He's walking around saying hello to the fans.
Oh no, the team bus starts a 3-point turn manoeuvre and runs clean over the little pup.
This Croatian road is now smeared with bits of squished puppy.
Yeah, a fan who looks suspiciously like Cruella de Vil has scraped up the skin and is running away with it. The whistle blows and we're off. Nirvana's Nova Selic passing back to Nikola Tesla in a way that clearly says thanks for the amplifiers.
Tesla and the poet Gondulic currently alternating passes back and forth.
Gondulic tries the long ball, but it's easily collected by Hercule Poirot, who always seems to get it right. Ivan Gondulic in the midfield, but his pass is intercepted by Adolphe Sax.
Reads it well.
He's controlling the pitch.
Sharp turn.
Blows past the defender.
Key pass.
To Hepburn.
Who blazes wide.
And she's making a funny face as she contemplates that charade.
Ivan Gondulic with a terrible pass back to Marco Polo, who wasn't ready for it at all. He couldn't see it, as a 9-foot wall was in the way and the ball slips past Polo and into the net!
Oh, it's a terrible own goal for Ivan Gondulic, who is looking miserable.
Chris Novoselic is over, really geeing up his team and trying to make them feel better.
Yeah, that really smells like team spirit.
It's 1-0 Belgium. Ivan Gondulic is really showing us what the inventor of the cravat can do with these elaborate skills and ranging runs. He's tying the opposition in knots. The younger brother of Mannequin Piss in the crown today. Nice to see some family support.
I can't see him.
He's just there, the small squatting baby.
Ah, yeah, there he is. The mannequin poop.
It's all Croatia at the moment, so Marco Polo has very little to do in goal just now.
Yeah, he's blowing up a lilo to have a little relax in his 6-yard swimming pool box.
Meanwhile, the Italian president and the Croatian prime minister are quite badly beating each other over the actual citizenship of Marco Polo, both claiming he's from their country.
Yeah, and now the leaders of South Africa, Gibraltar, Venezuela and Pakistan are all boldly claiming Marco Polo is from their countries, as just saying he's Croatian has clearly worked for this Croatian manager. Maybe they'll have the same luck. Tesla is surging forward and trying to make up the deficit. Mannequin Piss attempts to urinate on the inventor, but that's no way to conduct yourself, which Tesla knows a lot about.
Tesla with an electric cross into the box.
Chris Novoselic is there, and it's in! Oh, it's a very basic finish, but it'll do.
1-1, and Novoselic leaps into the stands to celebrate with the fans. A pale man, a blood-sucking insect, and your penis, Robin.
An albino, a mosquito, my libido, yeah.
It's all level at half-time. There's not much to separate these two teams, except, of course, the enormous wall that separates these two teams. Poirot is really not putting in any work physically today, walking and refusing to run.
Yeah, he needs to be much quicker. He really must dash.
I think the Belgians are really being affected by the hostile environment of this King's Landing crowd.
Shame. 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 And the referee has stopped play here. It appears as if music men Adolf Sachs and Chris Novoselic are in the middle of a brawl.
Novoselic has fed Sachs a bowl full of acid, and Sachs has thrown a guitar at the Croat.
Novoselic catches the guitar, though, and hits himself in the face with it.
Audrey Hepburn is trying to break things up.
My, fair lady.
It looks as if both players will be subbed off to avoid further conflict or injury.
Peo is on for Belgium.
Yes, and with Lucky the Dalmatian dead, it's Abomination on for Croatia. Peo straight into the action as he draws a thieving Smurf to rob Gondulic of the ball.
He now smurfs the ball up the Smurf, smurfily smurfing the Smurf, smurfs across the box, and smurfs it right into Marco Polo's Smurf.
Oh, that's got to Smurf.
Smurf. Tasty snack Ivan Gondulic is looking a little lost out there this half.
Well, that's because he doesn't have map maker Mark Harter on his side.
But he does have the very well-travelled Marco Polo.
Yes, but sadly they don't speak the same language.
Because Polo is Italian.
That's correct.
The Abomination is barreling forward with the ball in his teeth. I guess that's technically a header?
He stomps over the tiny statue, easily barges past the elderly detective. It's a wonder he didn't start the game, considering the frankly embarrassing physical condition of the Belgian lineup.
Abomination leaps over the tiny swimming pool, and Geraldus Mercator, who it turns out cannot swim, well, he's drowned.
Oh, well, it's in! The Abomination has rolled it into the enemy goal. The baying crowds at King's Landing happy to rename Croatia the Abomination. Coming to the end of the fixture, and Poirot is looking exhausted and despondent. Yep, he's so tired and sick of it. He's actually just run headlong into the Croatian defender.
Yep, he's hit the wall.
Yep, and that's it. It's the full-time whistle. Croatia with a 2-1 victory. What a game. His confidence paid off, didn't it?
We spoiled Belgium. Belgium, spoiled. Spoiled Belgium. Spoiled.
How are you doing, Alex? The confidence was all over, and it was justified.
Oh, I knew the home advantage was going to come through. I'm absolutely delighted with Team Victory. They did so well. I'm just absolutely thrilled, and let's hope that we never have to do an away fixture, because that is as soon as we leave the islands, that's when we start to get in trouble. But no, absolutely delighted, and long may it continue.
Monstrous, Tom.
I'm gutted. I thought I had a decent team. The Smurfs were not as effective as I had planned. But hey, you win some, you lose some, and in the international fixtures, I lose some. I've only lost.
Well, I'll tell you who doesn't lose is Team Victory. They can't. It's in their name. So, ladies and gents, that is the end of today's podcast. Do let us know what you thought of the teams today, or the results on our social media. We are at Noise Next Door on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and we'd love to hear from you. Also, a huge thank you to the incredible producer Paul for making us sound great, and of course to Alex Petrovich, winning manager today. Where can the listeners find you, Alex?
It would be handy if my usernames were the same on all platforms, but it's on Twitter, it's @am_Petrovic, and on Instagram, it is apetrovich88. And thank you very much for having me.
No worries, man. You can catch Alex at a live gig. Do check him out. And please, as we said earlier, do follow us on your preferred podcast provider and give us a 5-star review if that's something you can do.
I love that there are 88 other A. Petroviches. You had to go, 87 others. You only the 88th one. The other 87 were busy. That's why we got Alex today for the podcast. Thanks for joining us, Alex. Listen, next week we are doing another Euro special. It's a big game next week, I'd say. It's Scotland versus England with special guest Mark Nelson. I will be managing the England side, so prepare to hear a really shit team. Also, if you enjoyed the podcast, do tell everybody, because we'd love more people to listen. And if you run a business and want to sponsor a podcast, there's one right here that you can sponsor. Get in touch with us.
We'll see you next week for the big match, England-Scotland. But for now, it's time for us to hit the showers.
Marco, are you sure you are eligible for this Croatian team now?
What you talk about? Of course I'm bloody head. I'm the most Croatian man you ever seen in your entire life. Come on, let's go and talk about the Croatia and have some lovely food. Spaghetti meatball? Anyone?